Let's see if it's going to work. Hello, 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 hello. Nope, nope. Let's see if it's going to work. Hello, 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 hello. Super delayed here. So something's up with the audio. Where the hell? Hello, 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 hello. Super delayed here. Hello? So something's up with the audio. Yeah. Oh, am I working now? That would be good if I am working now. Right, okay. Hello? I can hear the audio coming out of my own computer, you see, and it's delayed by about 30 seconds or so coming out my own screen. So wait, what is that all about? Is this my own episode on YouTube? Oh, why did I have that open? God, that freaked me out. Right, well there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Live streamer gets freaked out watching himself on YouTube, trying to fix his own audio, getting totally confused by his own audio turning up on the thing there. Right, well, don't know what that was all about. Anyway, cool. Well, hopefully everything's working now okay. A couple of little bugs going on with my old YouTube setup, seemingly. And anyway, how have you all enjoyed this last period of time over here? At the start of the show here, I was eating a bun, and it was just a joke with the Dylan Moran live stand-up comedy skit thing or whatever. I hope people enjoyed that one, but whatever. Nice to have you here, Danny. Nice to have you here, Kevin. Nice to have you here, Sean. Nice to have you here, Nav and Ethan. Good to see you, Tradespawn. And I hope everybody else that turns up here also is having a great time. Say hello in the chat if you haven't already. I'll give you a wee hello back, and hit that like button. It really would appreciate the interaction. So let's just go and get the Bitcoin chart up here, shall we? This is my wrong list up here at the minute. So here we have Bitcoin USD, and this is the coin. This is not Coinbase. This is Bitstamp. That's right, Bitstamp chart. 4-hour time frame, doesn't really matter what chart I'm on, it's almost more or less the same. And what I'm looking at here is the prices having come all the way down to this second area right here. The wicks did drop down below, but we can see the bodies right at the bottom of our sort of liquidity box area, and as the prices came up and retested this zone and then pushed outside of it again, that is jolly good. Very, very, very good. Now, what is the result of this so far? We've come up towards the 382 Fibonacci retracement point over there, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, and you can see that puts the prices up above that 53,000, 54,000 really. We can see the price at 54,000 at the minute, up above that 53,800 level. People screaming and stuff outside in a big loud noise. That's scary. Right, anyway, yeah, you can see that we're above that 54k area currently, above 53,840 where the 382 is. Where you want to see the prices staying above, ladies and gentlemen. Looking over to our left, we see this liquidity zone box here as well, the area that we had this inflection around, as we actually managed to then come in and retest, if you like, this kind of zone of this whole thing was that sort of operating with regards to this lower end of that potential ascending triangle type jazz. Now, what we talked about here was this descending triangle. I'm not too sure if I want to have that on the charts at the minute. It kind of gives the wrong impression for what we're really looking at with regards to these movements. Now, what do we say whenever we see a triangle which doesn't necessarily play out to the full range of its potential initially? What do we say on the show, ladies and gents? I'm sure you all know the answer by now. That's right, they so often become channels. Excellent. So as you can see, having that line repositioned towards the downside gives you this idea that perhaps we're looking at this thing on the go. We've got a couple of touches of real note at the lower side, so that gives us enough to kind of sketch it down the way and say that this is the current sort of arrangement. Okay, so what we've got right now open is the 4-hour time frame. We're seeing a high up there on the 14th of March, then we're seeing subsequently a low on the 16th of March, then a high on the 20th of March, and that high that was on the 20th of March was lower than the high on the 13th of March, and subsequently then our next highs that we had, etc., coming in at around about the top end of this channel, keeping that same sort of flow on the go. We did have this little outside of the box area just there, and then of course if we were to actually use the actual parallel channel tool on this one, then you would see that the middle line of this thing is where we were kind of finding that inflection at before, resistance, and it looks just like that's what that is at the minute. So let's remove those green lines, having fully kind of evolved our chart over, right? So this is the explanation for what I'll be then making in the little clip thing. I'm going to clip out of this for what's its face, the folks back home, as we'd like to say on the show here. For everybody that's not tuned into the live show, whenever I make a clip up from this, you won't see me explaining why I've now got a channel up in the background, but there you have it. We did it together with explanations as well from the Rocky Outcrop School of Technical Analysis with regards to a parallel channel evolving out of an area of consolidation. And that's just how these things go, and it just really draws in again our attention after having found conceivably what could be our latest and hopefully then the last of our lower lows here, and then found our footing towards the top side. So why do I say hopefully our last of these lower lows? And as we look over then and include more price action on screen, I'm sorry about that, there just seems to be somebody outside, if you can hear it, you might not be able to, who is wanting to show off their loud engine in their car or motorcycle. Not too sure what it is. It sounds a little bit like a Ferrari, actually, not kidding. So yes, right. So so looking back structurally, you can see that we had this inflection point in here in around about the 18th of February, then here, etc. Blah 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 blah. So what this means is, if we do move down past that area, then the last hope that we have at that stage is the 618 kind of coming in there at the 48 to 49,000 range, and giving us that bounce that we'd be needing to then carry on up the way, or else then at that stage then things start to get very, very sticky. And of course you're looking down at that 236 in there we circled the other day at 45,200, and then on down again some more thereafter. So that's the current situation that we're facing. Shout out to Coolio. And the same sort of ideas kind of working along the lines of that anything really kind of pushing beyond the highs of this parallel channel at the minute, or essentially that downward sloping supply line, you could call it as well if you want, instead, from the former descending triangle ideology that we were using. Any lack of breaking that, of course, would result in movements towards the downside. Sort of synonymous with that is saying that getting up here halfway towards the 236 and actually then turning around at that point would, like looking beyond that could be a little bit greedy initially, and that you'd be wise to take profits and kind of sit back. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, so none of what I say here is financial advice, so that sentence I just said there now couldn't be construed as such, but that's an idea, when you look at this from a technical analysis point of view, what you would expect perhaps in here might be some profit taken. Now the next real big range up the way area to look up to after that is coming in at that 57k area. You'll remember I had the 57k Heinz yellow mustard bottle on my thumbnail last week. What did you think of today's thumbnail as well? Let me know in the comments. So we're looking to try and take that yellow mustard zone again, the Heinz yellow mustard 57k zone, to be able to move towards the top side, and that represents the overall kind of current fake out territory that we're looking at in this downward structure that we've got so far. And it has had a few lows overall in the 4-hour time frame. In terms of the 24-hour time frame, just hiding the drawings so we can look purely at the charts, you can see that really this has been that downward drop off that where we've not really had conceivably yet an actual low until just there recently, where we maybe put one in at that area that we did of course talk about as being that potential buy zone for us. So of course this is the next movement up then subsequent to that, and we're looking to say, does this really constitute a higher low quite yet? And really, if you want to kind of get an example for that, you can see in this zone here which ones of these constituted the high. Well, ultimately I suppose you could say it was the first one, because that was where the highest body close was, but there was this inflection here and kind of a reluctance to properly move down the way until such times as we actually came down and moved past this middle area of that parallel channel. Was it really very obvious to our eyes that was, you know, a lower high in that sense. Okay, so same thing here. We have to kind of break past an area, so we really do have to, like, you know, open and close up above this 382 for us to really kind of really be content in saying that. Now this is crypto land that we're in. You know, this could drop off, obviously sink back down the way and have a disastrous end of the day or whatever. We'll take a look at the lower time frames in a minute, but we're doing that so far, essentially, is what I'm saying. So looks to me like that we do have a low in here, ultimately having, you know, taken our time about putting that in the way. Good. And then perhaps that calls in for us to be able to say, well, this is maybe our first opportunity since this sort of downward movement to give us a good measuring stick for the just to see if we've managed to do anything. So we're above the 236 here, but not as high as the 382. Okay, and if we did the same sort of pullback last time, how did we manage? Well, we got above the 382. In fact, we went all the way up to the 618. So if we are able to do something like that, where does the 618 come in at? Lining this up again and seeing that the 618 comes in here at that 236 point, giving us the top end, and that really is our kind of target overall towards the top side. So this, albeit somewhat greedy, is saying that the sort of where your risk profile really flips from being like somewhat likely to achieve this target to being then somewhat less likely to achieve that subsequent move is in here at that 57k area, 56,450 up to 57k. I would say would probably be what you would be looking at more or less just for that sort of move. If that then does push on past that area, you know, immediate follow through with volume, etc., stuff like that would maybe give us the inspiration to think that perhaps we're going to crack on higher and higher and try in for our previous highs, and indeed maybe even that target from that descending triangle that we had on the go as well. Because if we actually, you know, take this high and low here, then any sort of wedge formation or flag formation, etc., that you pop in there is going to have the same measured move. Okay, so that's why we're happy enough to change this over to the channel, knowing where we subsequently came, you know, where we previously came from, and then we'd be pushing up there towards that 64,000 target. 60 wasn't quite, maybe the 1272 over there, something like that, maybe. So that's what we're looking at with Bitcoin. Okay, so have we done enough? Have we done enough quite yet? Well, let's see. We can take a positive stab at this if we wanted to, in it around about that area for managing risk, saying that pushing down past the median line of this channel kind of makes me no longer appetizing, salivating at the lips for holding on to positions, scrolling over to the left and seeing that the median line of the channel lines up with that 236 at the minute. So that would be undoing that 236, etc. And then, of course, movements towards the top side, then taking profits in it around about that 56,500 isn't going to, like, you know, be too much hassle. And if we do see any sort of reluctance to push on past the area of the 55, 55555, all the fives, then of course, you know, happy enough to take profits in there. And that's very, very small scale movements, because your next targets really do come up towards that 62 thereafter, you know. So that's when you start to suddenly get the more than 10% super profitable, happy, super duper times, you know. That's when we start to look up towards that area. But those are the roadmap, you know. This is the series of sort of switches on the rails that we need to go on go past first, you know, before we can really say how things have evolved. So what we'll need to do at this point here is to look at the 4-hour time frame and see if between these two lows, for example, we've got any bullish divergence. Low here, no, looks to me like the RSI is saying to us we don't have that bullish divergence. Do we have a real positive cross just here on this happening quite yet? No, we don't. But if we did get one here, I'd look for that. At the minute, I'm not super enamored with what we're seeing overall. The MACD, though, on the other hand, does have that nice stretch here of nice downward price action, upward higher lows on overall here, showing that diminishing trend. So nice one. That starts to turn the story around somewhat for us. And what we can see here then as well is that we're really starting to bob our heads above the water here in terms of the stochastics. Can we actually, you know, keep our chin above water here and push towards the top side? Those are the questions that we're looking to answer answer comes in at around about those key areas. That's why I've flagged them all up for us in terms of I know that taking a trade here isn't going to be a life-changing move, looking between 54 and 55, 5555, etc., or indeed even up to 56,804 bucks, maybe, perhaps. But that's what we need to see happen, to see the sort of the shift here away from what we're seeing. And what does that really translate to? Well, it translates to the trend, of course, remaining your friend, and the trend as such as we have it on the 4-hour time frames and below, therefore, is of course towards that downward side, the downward trajectory here. And as we see, looking on the 15-minute time frame, these zones have so far have been so crucial for us. Looking at the coming right in there in terms of finding support, and then again here, then when we move down past towards the low end, that was kind of established that sort of end of that zone, pushing up the way, and the way it lines up with the parallel channel, etc., in the background, that really, this is just the story as I see it for right now with us in terms of that one. Okay. So there's a few other things that we'll talk about. I suppose I could come back and make the episodes real quick then thereafter. Ethereum, what we're seeing is that we did indeed turn around at this red line here. Like, it's almost like magic, sometimes when you get things shown like that on the chart. We'd obviously talked about this at the time when this was all kind of coming in to happen on so what did we do in the end? Was that the low overall? Ultimately it was the low, wasn't it, when we spoke about it, 1544. So we covered all of this perfectly in terms of how we got to this point in the previous episodes. If you haven't seen them, then check them out on the channel. It's all kind of wrapped up nice there for us. What's the delta? Well, the delta is simply this extension towards the top side. We're not seeing that the volume is increasing. Thankfully, of course, we did have that potential stop in volume, potentially, I suppose, in here at that low, but it's not massively exciting for us. We have got a danger, therefore, in terms of the momentum not really following through for us quite yet. It'll be interesting, therefore, in terms of looking at this across a couple of different time frames right now, to take a look at some moving averages, perhaps, on this one. Not 100% sure if I actually want to be bothered making clips from the videos today or not, to be perfectly honest with you. So who knows if I'll do that or not. So it's a good job that you made it here, that's for sure. Drop a like if you're seeing anything that you like on the show here. It's good to have the likes of Robert online here this evening with us, and it's good to see Sean Thomas and the like in there chatting away. And let me see as well, Mark Hernandez would love to hear your thoughts on VGX. Well, perhaps we'll take a look at that at some point for you, my friend. VGX. So, right, so yeah, I wanted to bring on some moving averages. Did I do that? I think I did. Where are they though? Yeah, okay, there they are. So what we see here is that there was a cross between these two short-term moving averages. Lovely jubbly. Is that the full story for us? Well, I'm afraid it's probably not, because this is such a shorter-term time frame, and these, of course, are just the smaller-term moving averages. Let's bring them all into play here so we can see. Then we look up above that. Actually, in terms of the larger picture, what we're seeing here in terms of the 1 hour time frame is that the prices have managed to take out most of these moving averages so far, and that's decent to see. But we've got this downward sloping area with the 200 simple coming in there. That's where the 4 hour is going to be showing us as the 50 simple, and we got up to a sort of more sensible looking time frame. We can see that we are actually just coming in with the potential to cross over now, and that's the dynamic, as you can see then, with regards to this price action as expressed with moving averages, that until such times as we really push past the market structure areas and take out where they currently reside in 50 simple period moving averages and push towards the top side, then of course we're looking up there and saying it's fairly congested up ahead of us. Okay, we have to acknowledge that that's just the way that it is, and we've done well, having benefited from the TA the other day, to say that there was what sort of, as you can see here, in fact, what we're looking at. So this is the overall upward side target, in fact, as well, in there at 1755. We've got up to 1672. Everything's just swimming along nicely. I mean, need I say more? No, I've said enough here in this one as well. That's cool. Let's just fire on over towards Link USDT. This is the area, of course, then looking towards the top side. We've kind of scribbled it all out already, haven't we, on this one? I get that feeling of sort of like slight drunkenness as I scroll out here on the charts and see this lower line, which is giving me that feeling as it's not actually drawn in horizontally, it's drawn in all slanted, whatever. That's a little bit better. Right, so looking towards the top side here on this gizmo, what we can see is that the 2755 area is crucial for us. And are we going to take it out or not? Well, we're a hair's breadth, or a couple more, closer to that, achieving that right now than we're seeing with regards to Ethereum. But that's the same story, and we're looking towards the top side, and we're seeing that this has only just had the bearish cross on the 4-hour time frame. So, of course, naturally we'll be looking for this to come up and test these areas. Are we going to test them and push through, or are we going to test them and then sort of, if you like, confirm the negative cross there, or push through and of course then do what we've seen the last few times that they've crossed. So let's just take the lesson of the recent past. Cross here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 crosses in this chunk of price action right there. I know I'm looking at the same thing, by the way. If you're sat there at home thinking, look at all the mess in there, it's really difficult to see the price action, Rocky, I really need to see that right now in the screen, well then you're not appreciating what we're really talking about here, which is the bigger scope of the overall movement of the prices, by the way. Anyhow, right, so let's learn the lesson from that and kind of smooth it out a wee bit and jump up at least one time frame to see how things look. Where's the 200 miles away in terms of the 12-hour time frame? The 24-hour time frame, miles and miles and miles away. But of course, those are those potential downside targets should we continue on. Why is that? Well, pushing past that wick that we had previously and really taking out this descending triangle possibility that this is the descending triangle 2.0, by the way. Of course, we had this drawn in something like that. We talked about the potential for a measured move to come down to here prior to this, as we've evolved the story out the way. So if we do that, then of course, then the 382 is the crucial sort of checkpoint for us on that one, and that's coming in there at 23.57. And then of course, then your next downward side targets are coming in at 21.38, 19.19 or so, then down towards 17.42, and that's what you'd be looking for on the basis of breaking past the 50 simple period moving average. Okay, so the inverse then of that scenario ties up perfectly on the 24-hour time frame with breaking past the 236. That's coming in there at that 27.78. The 50 simple period moving average in there, sort of 27.87, whatever. Let's just call it like 28.80. Let's just call it $29, just so that we can round that up the way, and breaking the $29 area, it puts us in contention for, of course, getting a move outside of this consolidation zone. Now, is there the potential for profit taking to occur in this highly congested area where there's numerous degrees of confluence for people to be looking at that and thinking that they might take some profit in there? Absolutely not. Just balls to the walls. Right, cool. So moving on. Shut up, cars. God. Right. What we have here is same story, right? Same story, lovely, beautiful stuff. Look at this Tezos. Here we have it, sideways price action as described perfectly by the drawings here with the green drawings here with this triangle. Are we able to actually push past the 236 where we're seeing the prices haven't been resisted fairly nicely? Let's call it 420 if you want to get high. How many times have you seen me talk about Tezos and say that exact phrase here? Well, let's see. Can we push past 420? It's what we need to do if you want to get high. Where are we going to find, somebody trying to kill your buzz? Then on this one is going to be at 450 to 60. Yeah, I know exactly. That's right. 10% move between 420 or less, perhaps, around about 10% moves you're probably looking at on this one. Chunk up the way, because where's the next one coming in at? Well, that's only at $5. So $5.09 or something like that, for $5.10. So is this 10% potential? That's kind of makes things nice and handy, and everything else sort of painting by numbers way of trading. And then if we did get a breakout from this thing, which is obviously fairly optimistic, it could take us up towards $7. Let's be realistic, really, though, and say that let's go for the devil's number or something like that in there, 666 or whatever, in order to take advantage of. To avoid really trying to buy that extreme risk in the sort of Walter White zone that I like to talk about it. If anybody ever watched Breaking Bad, they'll know that there was a discussion about, at one point how you could just get sort of 96% from any old sort of crack dealer these days because everybody had learned how to cook meth appropriately. There goes the monetization on this one, perhaps, who knows. But Walter White was really fantastic at what he did, of course, and was able to extract that sort of final 3%. And he says, of course, that's the hardest final 3%. Now, I'm going to say to you, hey, ladies and gents, you don't actually need to sort of aim to be the Walter White of trading. Right, you don't need to look for that final 3% to capture that end of the sort of the really discerning connoisseur meth head targets of price action. Right, instead, what you're looking for is probably the more reasonable chunk. Okay, cool. So that's me done with that there, TA, for this particular minute in time. Wow, isn't that wonderful? Absolutely is. In fact, what that means is I can catch up with some of the chat.
Capture the subjected to that and a lot of adult conversation. You know, so much adult conversation is just a bunch of lies. You spend so much time being polite to people, turning up and saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry I'm late. There was a traffic, oh, awful, and I had to perform a tracheotomy on a camel with just using a garden shears. It's very, very difficult. Very, very sorry." Just be honest with these people. Come in and say, "I knew you were here." Do you know where I was? I was at home. I had a bun.
Back to the charts. How is everybody this evening? Good to see you, Scott. Nice to see you there. Mark Hernandez Lamau. Nice to see you, Scotty Sniper. Haha, he said doo-doo. That's right. It got said. K King is saying, looks like April Fool's Day could be breakout day for the LINK stinky linky link. It's stinking. What do you think? So jumping back over here, April the 1st, April Fool's Day. Yeah, I mean, okay, cool. Yeah, in terms of that sort of timing of things, yeah, that'd be nice. A good April Fool's Day for everybody. Wouldn't it be great then if we actually came up here though and hit 3150 and really April Fool's everybody with a double sort of fake out and then a breakout with a retest of the zone thereafter. That would be the fun stuff. Right, cool. So what was that person he asked me to take a look at earlier on? It was Mark Hernandez. Yes, we'd love to hear your thoughts on the VGX. Right, well, normally I request donations to the channel for this sort of thing, but let's just do it for the wait a minute. What, did I type this wrong? VGX. Yeah, VGX. Okay, it's like not against USDT then. So it's not against anything. VGX. Okay, so normally I would and then I'd be sat here feeling guilty right now because I can't find the thing that you're looking for. I'd be like, oh no, you've donated money to the channel and I can't find what you're looking for. But hey, no harm, no foul. Nice one, that's quality. Anybody else got anything? Mic keeps buzzing. Right, gonna have to get a better mic, hey. Is that any better? I gave it a hit. Oh, it'll be this thing over here. What I do is I use my computer as a footstool, which means sometimes I kind of lean on my mic wire a wee bit too much. I don't know if that's any better. Voyager token, I think it has a weird ticker. Yeah, Voyager. We talked about this in the past. It must have been yourself. It probably not must have been. Was quite likely to have been yourself that asked for that in the past. BQX. It's got a couple of different ones. BQX, right? That's what it is on Binance. It's got a different ticker on a different exchange. Voyager. So we'll go BQX USDT, right? That's calculated by BQX USD. Surely there's a BQX USDT, right? Ethos, that's what they're calling it, because that's what that is on thingy. But over on Binance, it's this one. Great strategy, I think, that one, isn't it? They are different coins, aren't they? Let's just bring up this one. Hello, nice movement up the way. So it's done a lot better than than some. Very little volume here, you know. What does it mean when you see very little volume as the prices move up the way? Well, let's think about it rationally. That's the 24-hour time frame. Let's drop down to the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so it did move up quite a bit in these areas. There was very little volume there to follow through. There was a couple of big candles just here, kind of relatively compared to this last period of time, but it's not. But it's nothing huge, and what we're seeing is that there is a slight movement up the way, I suppose, overall in terms of the moving average on the volume that I have here. So you can see that on average the volume's going up, but that's mostly as a result of this previous volume that came in at the low. So so it means that there's been a somewhat lessening in terms of the selling pressure, if you like, and that's nice to see here in at that previous low. Then on this 4-hour time frame, was there anything kind of stacking up alongside that? No divergence on the RSI. Not on the whatchamacallem there, that's stochastics either. Nice. This is an opportunity to come in and always kind of check back again and see if I just talk madness when it comes to the volatility indicator aspect of that. So we can take a look at that in a second. I always like to police myself, audit myself. We're seeing that we've got the potential for hidden bearish divergence. Is that right? Yeah, if we don't push past that zone. So we've not got bullish divergence on the RSI, and there is the potential for hidden bearish divergence. However, we've got it on the MACD, and that's looking fairly decent. So we've got this aspect here, which is kind of showing you that there hasn't been an overall turnaround in the marketplace where like all the sellers became buyers. But what you're looking at here is a scenario where the sellers were like, okay, you can buy it at those prices, we'll just sell it more expensive later on or tomorrow or something like that. That type of scenario, and that ties in then I suppose perfectly with these moving averages, showing that we've got this death cross over here, like a really beautiful X marks the spot right on that inflection point and everything. Lovely jubbly, and then the 50 simple thereafter operating as resistance, and that lovely sort of ribbon, if you like, of moving averages here down below that we pushed on up past. Now we have actually pushed past that zone. Will we then see therefore perhaps a bit of inflection in here at the 555 area where we have the 200 simple period moving average, with perhaps the possibility for this to come back down for a retest of, what would it be at that stage, maybe in it around about the sort of 495 area, and then perhaps then kind of consolidating or moving towards the top side. It really depends how things go, because if we actually pull back at the minute, then what we're going to see is the potential to come in here and try anywhere down to as far as our lows. So I'd be a wee bit kind of worried if we don't push past this zone right here at 528, but then it's from 528 up to 558 that you're kind of looking at as being the next sort of move, and that would be represented, I suppose, in the 1 hour time frame with coming up to try these previous highs up there, and then the potential for us to come back down and retest some of these moving averages and previous support flip resistance. And this area that we're at right now at the minute is probably a good one to kind of look to for that, if that's going to be the case, or else we just push on past it, I suppose, and of course at that time you would know what's happening. But that's the kind of just an explanation for what might be happening. If we were to turn around at this point, that would be negative looking in terms of RSI, and because of this high wick here. And then of course if we push past that area, then I don't know, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good, right, for a turnaround here. Looks pretty good for a turnaround. But that's easy to say when you're right at the on the line of one, right? So that's easy to say, so that's not really useful. Instead, let's take a look at this for a second, just to see, just because I'm curious myself. So how did we ever, what I like to say here is that when the music stops, then the party starts. and we can expect, or not expect is the wrong word, but this is an indicator that I give away to everybody for free. Of course, I actually accept payments for it as well. If you want to pay, you can. But it's the DMI, and what I've done here is I've made it easy for you to use it, even if you're rather inexperienced, for this kind of little nuanced approach, which is not mentioned in any books or by any other analyst out there. Is purely something that I've put together for you myself. Me. And what I like to talk about is that the price has the propensity to come back to where it left off. Now, of course, this is something that I'm totally open to scrutiny about. So let's just do some of that I only want to do it because I can see that there's a number of examples, and we can see that the first one here really did work quite well. So the white box ended, the prices are in around here, they dropped all the way down, things look scary. Where did they come right back up to? Well, right there. And of course, while the price is pushed on up the way, you can see that actually the bodies of it closed over there. Oh, isn't that wonderful, in that zone of after that. So let's just kind of go back the way. This is the previous one. Well, prices just went sideways at that point there. Yes, you could say it did happen, but what we're talking about here is like, 5% moves, nothing to be sniffed at. If it happened in traditional world, you'd have people talking about it for sure, but really it doesn't compare very as well to that 20% move here that was towards the downside. Survivable if you're just like talking about it from a bad long position that you took, like, oh my goodness, maybe I'll get out of here, that sort of survivability. Or indeed, if you were looking at this going, whoa, let's just ride this wave, then you got a 20% move towards the top side as soon as that started to turn positive again, for example. Right, previous one then to all of that was this area, sideways, this area. Then of course as well we can see that kind of that effect on the go, but it's not huge amounts of monies. Same effect on the go, not a huge amount of monies, but we're not seeing it being like a problem as you'd expect after this tiny little bit here and whatever else. And then of course, with regards to these ones not working, you did get one that worked followed up at the end. You could just, you could smooth that out by just changing the input level up one if you wanted to. I actually prefer to have this on 11. Actually, there you go, I set it to 11 normally myself. Out the box settings, I think I leave it at 12 just to give everybody that experience that we're having just here together. Yeah, 11. So that actually, there we go, 20% move predicted more or less perfectly by that indicator. Wonderful. And then what did we have over here? Did we actually see it? This is a good opportunity to see this. Did we return to it or not? Because it doesn't look like we did immediately anyway. So at 104, so this is a failure of that concept. Interesting stuff. We can also see then as well that we had this huge volume, huge movements on all the other indicators at the time when that ended, and I suppose you can sanitize it by saying that, in and around about this zone we didn't have huge volume. What this is showing you is of course the volatility where it's really, really low, and it's that inverse of volatility to say that once it gets to this magic level, then it'll snap and come up and give you pure volatility in the way that you might expect it, like the turbulence on an airplane. And over here you can see then that, well, what you're hoping for is turbulence, that occasionally airplanes just plummet 100,000 feet in the space of 2 minutes or whatever, or get escape velocity, and unfortunately for all the passengers on that plane, then I suppose if they didn't have appropriate breathing apparatus along with them, they might have suffered somewhat. If everybody could hit that like button just like K King is saying in there, that would be super handy. So anyway, I don't know, have I helped you at all on this one? I've spoken about it for a wee while, spent some time on the charts. I'm going to just dive back over to Bitcoin and see if anybody else is happy. Right. Okay, cool. So I've got fixed the microphone just a little bit. That's nice. Gotcha. Cool. Did I help at all on that one? If there's something specific you wanted me to take a look at, then cool, I could do that for you. If it's along the lines of tell me what to do over the period of the next 4 hours so that I make some money, suppose I could do that, but what am I doing? Everybody hit like 3, 4, 5, 6 times. No, not 4 times. Keep it divisible by 3, right, or something like that. Whatever. Do a prime number, whatever. I don't know. Yeah. So shall I make clips then? We're how far into the video are we at the minute? How long has this been going on for? Does anybody know? 42 minutes. 42 minutes. Right, sweet. I could even actually make a few 5-minute clips there for folk. I could do that one with BQX as well, actually, since your man was asking for it. Maybe people in the world are. What was it again? This thing. Planes only fly at 36,000 feet. Well, there you go. I mean, so that's it. Like, there you go. I mean, they only fly at 36,000 feet. So any major variation away from that is going to make them start falling or escape velocity. So you have to be very careful when you're flying a plane, because they actually only fly at 36,000 feet. Yeah, that's it. It's very technical stuff. Check out that cake today. Check out cake today. Oh, sweet cake. And I've got a bun there, and we're talking cake. Right, cool. Let's do that. I'll just dive back over to dive back over to that thing, that chart that guy was at. Oh, we're on it now already. Wolf Music, BTC at Wald Wolf Music. BTC at 54,500 is huge previous volume. Possible short position there on the VPVR. That's it, my friend. Let me know how long you've been watching this channel for, because if you've been watching it over the last wee while, you'd know all about that number. We've talked about it an awful lot over the while, and I agree with you. That's absolutely correct. It's clearly going to be an inflection zone in the market, isn't it? Having been the focus of so much attention over the last wee while amongst sort of professional traders. I mean, I'm not too sure how much the rest of the market is, but it was quite a clear area. I imagine most people would have seen it, but that's absolutely right. Absolutely right. You're right there. Tradespawn, could you take a look at the Karaman line and think about air pressure at that height and how the hell your plane is going to work? Yeah, exactly. Craig, nice to have you here. Craig McCaffrey, great TA. Thank you so much. Cheers, mate. Cheers. In fact, I have a cup here. Cheers. Excellent. It's almost kind of like the beer one there. Right, sweet. So I'll make these clip things. That's what your fella will be wanting. Is he here? Are you here, mate? Are you here, Mark? Mark, are you here? I'm sure you probably still are. Let me know how that went for you. We'll just do a quick sort of summary so I can get them views on the internet, Shall I play the intros for this one? Nah, I'll skip the intros. Hi friends, BQX. That's Voyager on Binance. I know there's a few confusing different tickers for it out there, but this is the coin that we're going to be taking a look at. BQX USD on Binance. It's Voyager. You might be calling it something else if you're trading on a different exchange. Right, cool. Binance, Voyager token versus USD, the price action for Binance for Voyager. Right, great, let's do this. Okay, so 4 hour time frame, you see that I had a death crossover here back on the 16th of March. The prices subsequently did move towards the downside, finding resistance in at that 50 simple period moving average, but we have finally broken it now. We're looking at this period just here and saying if we do see a pullback at the time, then we really do need to see the prices manage to stay above this 50 simple period moving average for us to avoid getting another few decent chunk move down the way here and retesting these previous lows overall. So we don't really want to see that, because if you're holding on to long positions, then you're looking at a subsequent extra 15% loss on your position there, perhaps before then, of course, perhaps conditions change in the markets. So that's important. Why would that be important for us? Well, just let me sort out these oscillator dudes down below. Because if we actually do turn around to this point here, you could say that we've got some hidden bearish divergence, okay? And then that would, of course, signal quite badly for us coming down here. You wouldn't want to be coming down and testing your previous lows off the back of this hidden bearish divergence move that is available for us to exploit across most of the oscillators for us here. Now, there are a couple of little points that are maybe worth bringing in here, and we can say that from a DMI perspective here in the 4 hour time frame, we can judiciously look at this and say, yes, we can anticipate long conditions coming in here with a good strength of trend movement towards the top side, perhaps translating across into a larger term trend move, perhaps a reversion to the overall prior upward trend. That would be lovely, but we're just early days on this because the ADX line is not turned blue yet. It's still orange. That means it's below 25 here on my chart. So we're just about there, and of course if we did see a turnaround here, it wouldn't be that big a surprise since it's in the oversold territory as well on the stochastics, having just had from the point of view this recovery so far. But what is that larger trend then that we're looking to on the 24 hour time frame? And you can see here is of course the overall upward movement that this has been in for quite a while, and it does get periods of consolidation, as we can see, followed by periods of movement. Let's hope that this is of course just one of those. But taking out this previous low, what does it do? It does two things at once. Of course, it takes out their market structure area or previous low over here. Then of course it opens up the possibility for further dumpage down towards the 200 period simple moving average here on the daily time frame, and that's coming in at around about 160 at the minute, with the prices being about 520. That's clearly something that you don't want to be holding your nose and diving into, right? But looking down the way here towards the smaller term time frames, then how are we doing, how are we thinking, and all that good stuff. And of course what we're about to see here in the 1 hour time frame is yet another one of those golden cross scenarios for us. Things could be very lovely. We could push on past the way. Why is it happening in here at this particular moment in time? Why is it such a perfect zone for managing your risk in and around about all of this? Well, of course that's because of that bigger scenario in terms of the potential for hidden bullish divergence if we don't crack past here our previous high on this inflection, on this chart here, in this where this previous inflection point was. Moving past here brings in, brings in the opportunity for, of course, nicer movements towards the top side. Nicer movements? That's a bit of a soft expression there. Rocky, what are you thinking? Anyway, what are those nicer movements? And looking between those highs and lows, you can can see that this is you know, the 50% line where we're finding that inflection at, and of course a horse. We could be looking up towards this area of 580 thereafter. That's of course a more than 10% move towards the top side overall, so that's lovely trading conditions for us. But we actually have this showing us that if we actually take out our previous area where we had our highs at before, this is the all-time high zone in there at 745, I believe it's all-time high on this coin, then what we're looking at then is a potential to go up towards these higher profit taking targets, and the one to look to, I suppose, for those greedy guts among us is up there at the 1618 and then $11. So is that a conceivable target? Yes, it is, and the story towards getting there comes in at how we've described it here. Now, of course, there is a clear potential for a pullback just here, an inflection. Even just thinking about stuff and coming down towards the 450 zone doesn't actually negate any of that possibility for us, but it is a 10% knock off the price. Now, if you're going to be managing your risk, I'm not a financial advisor, none of this is financial advice, but looking at that 10% type thing and thinking either, you know, that, you know, you might want to consider your overall position with it movement down further than that would maybe be worth thinking about, and also towards the top side, that there's no harm in taking profit with moves once they've happened along those sorts of lines. So be aware and don't be scared if we do, of course, move rapidly between either of these destinations, because of course overall in terms of the 24-hour time frame and the larger trend is towards the top side, but we're at a zone where we could have inflection at that, of course, carries us down various chunks, and we've all identified it already for us on there. With the 24-hour time frame having just had this tick over on the stochastics, this is very, very nice to see. So a little extra sort of bonus for us. This area not taking out this inflection zone over here means that we haven't taken out this low over here, haven't taken it out, so we haven't dropped down. It is a huge chunk, but this then makes this whole consolidation zone give us the potential for hidden bullish divergence. Okay, hidden bullish divergence here on this one, that could be continuation divergence, as in perhaps an increase in that sort of motivation towards the prices moving towards the top side. That would be wonderful to see on the bigger time frame sort of scenario. And in terms of the weekly, it's like there was just a period of dumping onto everybody when this thing got launched, and then a period of sort of buying it all back again. So that's what we're seeing here overall, and that means that when we look up on the big time frames, the importance of that $11 and the inflection point for us here really comes in to be seen as we look towards our last all-time high. There we go, that's everything. I didn't even know that it would work out to be so spectacularly on the nose there with these price points, but bringing on the where's my Fibonacci hiding? It's not visible in the day. Anyway, that's where that 1618 was, so you can see the magic of the whole thing working together there. Of course, things could change earlier on. It just depends how greedy people get. Now, when the party really begins, is pushing past that zone. But hey, that's 100% plus away from where we are right now. Do we really need to start, you know, packing our lunch boxes for our journey to the moon quite yet, when there's plenty of highway left ahead of us? Let's, you know, take it one step at a time. Boom, there you go. By the way, friend, thanks so much, Mark Hernandez, for liking and subscribing. You're not going to get better technical. Sorry, man. Sorry for this. I hate being big-headed, but you're not going to find anything better than that in the entire world. Okay, you've made it to the right place at last. Well done, happy to have you here. But I work hard to earn every single last subscriber, right? And I value this relationship like so much. It's crazy, really, it's true, but I massively value it. And I'm super happy to have you here. But I work hard to earn that from subscribers, and you're not going to find that in every other YouTube channel. So welcome home, mate. You finally made it home. Everybody can give Mark Hernandez a nice rocky outcrop welcome to the family. Thanks so much for joining us here. Now, I'm not going to do that every single time. Like I say, normally that's the sort of thing that I ask people to donate to get that sort of level of technical analysis, you know, because you just don't get it everywhere else. Now, people who do donate as well, quite often I always ask if it's useful, and then go back and look at other things and ask them if there's any particular indicators or anything else that they want to look at as well, because I'm familiar with a whole bunch. So yeah, cool. So we're going to go do our little video pull out things for all the different coins, so we can try and get the Rocky Outcrop channel to grow. By the way, I have to, again, like I say, work very hard actually here on the channel. to try and get growth on the channel. And it doesn't happen doesn't happen in that sort of like just put it up there, make it and they will come way, because none of these videos are evergreen. Of course, think about it yourself. Mark, would you have watched my previous BQX Voyager video? Would you have watched it? Maybe you would have, maybe you wouldn't have. They're just not got very good shelf life, right? So I have to make these clips and stuff like that to try and get the channel to grow, because kind of want it to grow, right? Why not? I think that's fair enough. So let's try and see. Now, I did all of the analysis earlier on for us on a different way of looking at things, right? I did it earlier on for us, a different way of looking at things. But where is it? Why am I not seeing it right now? Oh, I turned it to that parallel channel. That's what I did. Cool. Perfect. Fantastic. I should drop a stream marker in here. Where is my stream marker? Can't do that. I have to make this visible to myself somehow. Right, I'll use the intro clips. They'll make it visible. Hi friends, check it out. Bitcoin has been in an overall rising wedge towards the top side on the weekly time frame, and we're here testing the fake out territory from it right now on this time frame. That's the weekly time frame actually here, looking down over towards the smaller time frames such as the 4 hour, the 24 hour, and we can see that we're inside. That's such a mess, right? That's not going to work for people. Get rid of these crappy oscillators. Let's try this one again. That's a wrap. That's not a wrap, folks. That's not a wrap, folks. What's the best way to present this information to the audience? Start off in big time frame and move down the way. I think this is the way that's maybe most beneficial and educational. It's not the way that'll get me the most subs, whatever. I don't do clickbait and I don't do FOMO on the channel, by the way. It's one of the things. It's like a slogan on the channel: FOMO free trading, FOMO free education. It's just what we do here. It's FOMO free. There's been plenty of good examples in the past actually when the markets have been going crazy and we've been talking about things in a nice calming way. It's one of the things we do here. So I'm going to start off with a weekly time frame and move the way down the way, and people will benefit from it. Scott, man, cheers, thanks so much for that. Scott, check it out. Cheers, Scott, man. Nice one. Legend. Thank you, Scott. Fantastic. Right. Hi friends, welcome to the show. Bitcoin in this weekly ascending wedge. Is it going to actually break out towards the downside? Currently, we've been challenging the fake out territory. This is breathe, Rocky. This is the weekly time frame, and if we drop down towards the lower time frames, we can see that we've actually had a nice little bit of a turnaround here, but we're still below this key moving average here of the 8 period exponential moving average. Indeed, in fact, the 18 period exponential moving average is right there alongside it because they're snaking around each other. They've just had a negative cross. If this negative cross on these two rather small and easy enough to beat exponential moving averages actually plays out negatively, what would that look like? And if we can bust past it, how good would that be? Well, overall it means that we've come down to fake out territory and tested the 50 exponential moving average on the daily time frame, which is a lovely area to come in for a higher low at, and we've managed to achieve the 50% retrace, which has been once, twice, 3 times a winner over here for us so far, if that's the case. Okay, but we can see a different side to the story, because that's the broader picture and of course what we're looking at, but in terms of how this is actually operating for us right now, we have a parallel channel for us. If you want to see the entire construction of this and why it works and how we got to this and all the reasons for thinking about it, just check out the live show, which is, this is filmed during, by the way, there's a live chat down below. Come join us for one sometime as well. But in the live show there, I explain it all perfectly fully, and it's easy to find the areas, because just look up there, up there on the far side in the top part of the screen, you can see the ticker dead easy when you're skipping around on the video. Cool. So this is a parallel channel for us that we could be in. Could we actually manage to stay above this median line of the parallel channel? That's going to be really key for us right now for a couple of reasons, one of which could be actually that if we don't do that, then we could be looking at this and saying that this isn't really actually the local low, and we've got an area to go on beyond it. That would be scary, and it's obviously actually just the key zone for us to be looking out for is actually here at this 382 Fibonacci retracement point in there at the 55,000 area. Can we, or 53,800 it actually is. staying above 54,500 like we spoke about so often in the past is going to be key for us now that we've actually managed to come up and challenge it over the next 24-48 hours. Can we achieve that and then move towards the top side? Now, your first profit taking target is going to be coming in for quite a few folk in here at the 55,555, all the fives up to a 56k area. The reason for that is because they're the ones that were savvy enough to get in here at this low over here. Now, if you were looking at this from at the time and you were thinking about it, like how you could have traded it, then you would have been thinking, right, if we do move down past these zones, I don't really want to be participating in any trades from that point, but I have got a nice chance of coming up towards the top side here and actually acquiring, without any really great deal of effort, a highly profitable trade. You know, you can see here the risk to reward ratio on this one extends all the way up towards well, you know, if you're doing this just reasonably, if any sort of movement down past here, you could get ridiculous risk to rewards. This here is still ridiculous at 5.32, so you know that would be like what people were thinking there, and that's why that's going to be one of them. But where the real sort of target to be looking to is actually up there at 57,000, right? If we can push past 57,000, that's taking out the 236, and it changes things significantly from a number of different viewpoints. And in fact, diving back over then towards this bigger time frame, we can see that if we do that, 58,000 is where the top end of that wedge is. Can we actually kind of make it past that zone and continue on up the way, thereby actually extending up the fingerprint, as we spoke about in the previous episodes not too long ago, of this overall wedge towards the top side, extending it up the way and doing what we spoke about in the live stream, perhaps, you know, if we push any further down at all or whatever, of changing this into a parallel channel. In fact, taking it from off of log and just thinking about that right there, then you can see that this is maybe yeah, maybe it's just kind of already operating like that already at the minute for us. So that then re-emphasizes the need to look towards our highs, but we'll talk about all those areas should we come in at them. Your next clear profit taking target, by the way, folks, if we do push past both of those, if we do actually push past both of those, pick a pepper, then it's coming in there at 61,500, right? And then after that, 70k, boom, nice, excellent. Actually, no, we're talking about 69,690, or 69,420, I suppose, will be your next area, really, after that one. Cool. Drop a like, hit subscribe, come back, all that good stuff, because we do great, fun, live, interactive shows. I'll see you in one of them, no doubt, soon. In fact, as well, I see everybody that's in here in this one is having a good time chatting away. Excellent right now. What are you chatting about there? I think they were just realised the potatoes were better here, lol. Europe only got the potato when it was brought back from the South America. Yeah, we didn't get no potatoes early on. We didn't get them, we had to wait. You can imagine, it was like the lines, the queues outside the potato shop on that first day. Mental. Like, everybody on Instagram, like, check out my potato. It was madness back then. Madness. But of course, if it wasn't for that, then perhaps Instagram would never have got big. You know, it's only, you know, you have to be thankful for it too. Right, so here's a clip for Ethereum then. Oh, I forgot to run the intros. Whatever. I'll figure it out in the live bit after. I can't use that chart, it's too noisy. That's much better. Right. Hi friends, Ethereum's doing fantastic. The Ethereum price versus dollar. Ethereum, get that keyword in there. Drop a like, hit a subscribe, come back, support the channel, all that good stuff. This is Ethereum technical analysis, filmed during a live stream, by the way, as you can see down below, so join me for one of them sometime. The other day we were talking about this potential move for us in and around about this zone. Now we are still on for that, that's fantastic, and with profit taking target comes in there about 1750 or so. But how does that help you, you know, the guy that's just wanting to find out about what the next move is right now, give me some more moves, I can inject them intravenously into my trading account. Well, what you're looking for here is, can we take out the previous body close of this area? Can we actually do that? Why would you think like that when you're on the 24-hour time frame? This doesn't necessarily look like anything. Well, actually amortizing those two things in together and looking at it on the 2-day time frame, you can see that we actually have the potential for a bullish engulfing candle here if we push towards the top side. Drew's Tech, I've been using a little of your DMI, I like it, still studying it. Cheers, Rocky. 2.24 TES. Nice, fantastic. Hey, cheers, Drew's Tech. Right, yeah, anyway, good info here. So if you're just seeing this video for the first time, join us, subscribe, it's good fun, join the family. Right, anyway, this would be quite good, right, on the 2-day time frame. Well, overall it would be, but we're seeing the volume diminishing down the way in this period where we've had, bearish divergence still before. Taking a candle just here with a bullish engulfing candle doesn't actually really spell the end of any sort of negativity that we've had. It actually just kind of encourages the top side case scenario, and we're still looking towards that 1750 area, which is where we're going to find that inflection at. The 236 in there at the 1780 is obviously another key area for us. Now, taking out those zones is actually, what you're looking to have happen here, because that puts you outside of this overall consolidation triangle here. And if we actually do push up the way, then there's a potential for a measured move that takes you all the way up towards our glorious targets up at the mid 2000s and even beyond. Now, your first actual target here on this one's probably wise to come in at around about the 2200 area, where you can see the beginnings of those Fibonacci extensions, looking between the high and the low, and then actually carrying that all the way up the way and going towards 2500. It brings you up for that 1618, as we can see here, is demonstrated by that other Fibonacci that I've got in there. And that really is kind of, your zones to be looking to in terms of movements up the way, if we can take out our previous all-time high area. And that's going to be a big ask. It's a big round number at $2,000. A lot of eyeballs will be on that at the time, but things are still looking fairly good for us, of course. Lovely jubbly 2-day time frame, all spread out in terms of the moving averages, looking great there overall. 3-day time frame, great, all that stuff. Weekly time frame, I mean, we don't even really have, in terms of this particular chart, a 200 simple period moving average, do we? No, we don't. That'll come on at some point, and it'll be lower than where we are. I mean, obviously, in terms of one of the this has got it. Yeah, so we had that crossover back there in December 20, the end of December. I mean, the date that everybody knows that crypto goes good again after Christmas time, that's when that happened. Big whoop. Right, anyway, on the weekly time frame, so everything's looking great there, isn't it? Well, it does look great overall, but the potential for us to have a big pull down the way is also there. Let's just cover that real quick. Let's just cover that real quick, so that we have, of course, talked about both scenarios there overall. And if we do actually move towards the downside, what could we be looking at? Well, there's a few different ways that we could do that. We are below the 236 currently. We've only ever come down as low as not even as. We've come down to the 618. Yeah, that's actually true. We've come down to 618. So, whoops. Yeah, well, 1300 is still a huge difference away from where we are right now. 20% move towards the downside, so that's obviously significant enough, and that's definitely still on the cards if that were to be the case. So what we're hoping for is the positive scenario to play out. That's just the resumption of the overall trend, which we're seeing on the bigger time frames. That's what we're hoping for. So then, in terms of the lower term time frames, looking at sorry for saying M so much. Looking at this, what have we got that's standing out for us? Nothing particularly. DMI here, show us the way. Yeah, okay, so what we're seeing is that the negative trend has the potential here for this to burn off. Now, will it happen the first time? Will it necessarily happen first time around? Who knows? It would be nice to be sat here this time next week talking about the prices up at sort of towards that $1,750 to $2,000 area, and that could well be the case. However, it doesn't necessarily have to happen first time. As you can see, there was a fairly strong trend in terms of the 4-hour time frame towards the downside, and we are seeing this fairly strongly trend away again. But does it need to immediately cross over again? Not necessarily, as we've seen so often in the past. 24-hour time frame, of course, has that negativity, but it's still in chop area, as you can see. So what we're really looking for is this negative cross to, of course, be a false signal, which we know it is, having seen where the ADX is, and for things to then, of course, to pan out towards the top side with this crossing negatively. And if that happens in around about the same time as we get a positive cross here, then all to the power to the good. Let's just bear in mind that that's probably going to operate over the period of more like 24 rather than 8 hours, okay, for us. Right, that's where we are with that one. That'll do. I reckon that'll do. Who knows? If they had tuned in for the live show, they'd have got really good TA earlier on anyway, and not even need that clip, right? Everything, I try to put everything into these clips, as you might have noticed so far, as being like sort of part summary, part difference to the stuff earlier on. Let's crack on and get all the work done, shall we? Hi friends, take a look at Chainlink. Chainlink has been going towards the top side. What do you think of Chainlink? Does it stink? Does it stink in just that right way though? Probably does for you. Nice one. Shout out to Northwest Nerd, by the way. Drop a like on the video, hit subscribe. Nice to see you all here. Let's take a look at Chainlink. Bringing up the charts full screen. Don't know why I had those oscillators on at all in the first place anyway. A lot of noise in the charts right there. Sure there is. Let me just hide some of these drawings and zoom on a wee bit and then say that on the 4-hour time frame there was a negative cross here on this between the white dotted line, the red dotted line there. That's the 200 and the 50 simple period moving average there respectively. But over here in the 24-hour time frame, what we're seeing is that we're of course a good eons, light years, millennia away from the 200 simple period moving average. Now if we do manage to take out the 50 on the daily time frame and move towards the top side and all that good stuff and really kind of undo all of that, then that would be great, that'd be fantastic. But we do have to bear in mind the realities of the situation that we have right now. If we actually break down below $24, and it's actually a range that extends all the way down stinkingly as it is down to towards 21.50, but breaking that sort of zone overall can and perhaps probably most likely will precipitate in a move down towards the $17 area for us. So obviously we don't want to see that, and we're waiting for this to overall for all this to resolve. So topside targets, then we're at one at the minute. That's kind of one of the key things to be aware of at 27.50. Can we take that out? Yes, we can. On the 2-day time frame, can we get a bullish engulfing candle? Yes, we can. Do we all need to do it right here and right now? We don't necessarily, but the topside targets then there afterwards coming at $28, $28.70, $30, looking up towards 31.50, etc. Now in this 31.50 areas where we had the 618 golden pocket previously, and there's a couple of key areas, we just pushed above that at one high and we just came into the middle of it in the subsequent high. So these are the two market structure areas that we would need to change, and that's kind of would obviously paint a different, it just makes it so easy to see sometimes when you take the whole chart off and you just remember all of the drawings off, etc., and just remember what you're looking at here. Well, the enthusiasm for coming in and coming up for $36 and $33 and getting those 10% moves up towards the top side really does actually start to become palpable whenever you've taken out these two areas just here. So and our next targets towards the top side are actually still quite a ways away up the way. So if we want to ever achieve the $46 target and get a solid nice a nice $20 move up from where we are more or less now, looking at a sort of 70% profit on any just spot trades alone, 10x obviously 700%. If you want that type of thing to happen, then this is what you need to see starting to happen first off, right? And there's another really crucial target for us if we do actually move above this the $30.50 zone. Okay, really crucial target we need to be aware of, and that is of course the measured move from this ascending triangles, taking that measuring stick and showing you that just takes us up towards where our previous high was overall. Now if we do it straight away, we could go up towards $40, and that's on the cards. It's totally possible. Let's look for big volume down below here, looking at the volume candles and seeing that we want to have a big one if we're going to be doing any of that, or at least enough of these to add together where we're seeing the moving average really push towards the top side. As we can see here in these smaller candles, it diminishes. Need to have a couple of big ones pushing up the way, and then we want to see these things actually level out and turn positive in terms of the oscillators down below, as we are below the 50% line on the stochastics, for instance. Now we do have this potential for sort of bullish divergence. It's of a class B variety, so it's not like fan dabby dozy, but it's totally there, and well, it's pretty fantastic really. Let's call it fantastic bullish divergence there to pay out for us and resume and push us back on to resume that overall upward trend. But of course, if things don't happen, it's not like we haven't seen consolidation on this coin for a while in the past. We could see more of that. Am I thinking that that's the way it's going to go? No, I'm thinking that we're probably going to see things start moving again fairly soon for us. The stochastics will be the last thing that I bring up here, and just to point out that we've just had a positive cross on the 24-hour time frame. So let's see if we can get that to all kind of keep going and putting us in a position where everything's just happy trading towards the top side, right? If it doesn't, things get stinky. Where's my measuring stick? Where's my measuring stick gone? Guys, what have you done with my measuring stick? Where is it? Right, whatever. I'll just take a new one. If things get stinky, then they get pretty stinky, and you're looking down towards $12 if you get the full measure move. Right, we don't want to go down there. That's the price of band. We're looking at link. See you in the live stream sometime. Right, cool. Join me for a live stream. Okay, cool. By the way, if you are watching this is a live stream. Right, I'll prove it to you. Let me see. K King just said 83, and then TradeSpot said nice. You see? There we go. Proof. It's live. as if the TA alone isn't enough to prove it. Moving on then, and looking at Tezos. New for you, Civilization 4 Frontier Pass. Expand your empire, add 8 new civilizations, 9 new leaders, 6 new game modes, and more. With Civilization 6 New Frontier Pass available now. Oh wow, thanks for the advert. Didn't want that. Sorry to have exposed all of you to it as well. Whatever. Tezos, great. Here, friends, look at this. Tezos, fantastic. It's doing what we wanted to see it doing. If we can push on past this zone here, then we're looking at crazy moves towards the top side, which would be great to have for Tezos. It's been a while since we've had one. Let's say $6.78 is our target towards the top side. Looking here at $4.17, then we're obviously looking at a 50% rise towards the top side. More than, Rocky, more than. Wow. Isn't that something special? Well, I certainly think that would be absolutely wonderful for us to see. Is there anything else that we need to be aware of in the meantime on this one? I'm tempted to say no and leave it with you, but the reality of it is, of course, that we are in this consolidation phase, and we're looking here that the prices are still below the 236 Fibonacci retracement point, and until such times as we really push on past them. In fact, let me see here, that's not even where did we, okay, let's just see. Yeah, right, that's where it's drawn in from. Okay, cool, excellent. And yeah, we're still below the 236, so we really need to see the prices take out 420 if they want to get high. And if they want to do that, then fantastic. In fact, let's call our target towards the top side 690 instead, just for the lols of it. Is there a way that we can get 690 to come in here with say a Fibonacci extension towards the top side? Where would it need to be? It would need to be drawn in badly. Let's draw it in incorrectly. Okay, Da Vinci J17 style. So Da Vinci say, oh, look at that. It didn't even work. Right, skip it. Well, that's the TA done, by the way. Tune in for a live stream sometime. Yes, the live stream has got tons more info on it on Tezos, tons more. We went on about it for ages. We've got top side targets 236 in there at 420. If you get past that, it's good. You watch where you want to be if you want to get high. Looking up here towards 460 is your next area. Just think about it in terms of 10% chunks that, you know, if you're looking at any given time in terms of real inflection zones, if it's not one of the ones that I've spoken about, then you're probably somewhere between one of those 10% chunks. Okay, that'll just have to do. 460, $5, and then downside targets you're looking at 378. Breaking that the things get really tasty for shorts, and I'd look even as far down as $3.33. Great, that'll do in that front. Right, got to do another drinking stream again soon, says Kevin King. Perhaps we will. So I've done all the things and I've ended at 1 hour 15 minutes. Excellent. So should I just call it a days? Shall I call it a wrap on this one? What do you think, folk out there? Let me just scroll up and make sure I've got all the chat. Peru has over 4,000 varieties of potatoes. Wow, that's something. Oompa or Tas. Good to see you, Tas. Slancha. Cade Mela Foila. Cade Mela Falcha. Cade Mela Falcha. Umpatas. Jay's Ditch. Jay's Miraditch. Everybody else in the world is like, what is he doing? Arna Hart Harnyau Ganifin Genium Jajigadaria. Morienter and Holu and Tolu, Norienter and Yau. Arnarno. Fuck it. I probably didn't even say any of that right. Right, anyway, regular viewers of the channel know I like languages. Ali, oop, good to have you here, my friend. Good evening, man. Could you have a look at GME? It's in the game. GME. It's in the game. Oh, 181. Nice. Good recovery. Yeah, people want to push you around and tell you how you got to live your life, but you don't want to listen to them. They stink. Instead, what you want to do. Wow, those lines went totally whack when I put it on logarithmic, I tell you. What you want to do is listen to your own self, be your own man, and all that good stuff. So I'm sure the world is telling you that this has turned to crap. Let's just see if it has or not. I kind of suspect it hasn't. Just looking at this generally, I know. Look, you know, that's what I was trying to do before. Oh, I've got this whole thing on here. Must have been talking about that as well. Yeah, right. Sorry. Time to start being coherent. Go gadget brain. We've made it back up to the foot of this liquidity zone, right? This has taken us up towards the top end of that downward sloping supply line, which you could imagine being on the charts if you wanted to. Now, there's various different ways of looking at this currently. Could we be in the reversal zone of this overall area for us? Well, it doesn't look like your typical distribution top, does it? No, this is all like massive extreme blow off top territory. Then you got your sort of lower high coming in there afterwards, but we didn't, get this blow off top having followed in with divergence. It wasn't one that's like, that's just your typical, like we can see back here if you want to look at examples of things in terms of that sort of thing from 2020 Bitcoin. You know the point that I'm trying to make, 2020 Bitcoin, right? You can see the same thing. Now, what happened on that 2020 Bitcoin top is it came in with bearish divergence at the top end of it, and then it had a massively Fibonacci breaking retrace down to the 50% area. Looked like it could perhaps have been doing Dow theory, but never managed to successfully take out the top side again, resulting in the prices just dropping down the way overall, yada yada yada. And that's typical of the sort of thing that you would see in around tops. Is this looking like a typical one overall? Well, not really, not necessarily in that respect. As you can see, we made it all the way up here, and there was that enthusiasm, then there was all that hype and news and everything else, and this actually is more like a case of event psychology as opposed to that's probably what describes this area overall fairly well. If you want to take a look at event psychology type of introduction, check out TradeSpotting's channel. He's got a video on the event psychology. So we've come in here. This is not come in with any sort of hidden bearish divergence. That's good to see. This low overall here has then got this ridiculously lower RSI feature here for us, showing you that we have got hidden bullish divergence. So that's jolly good to see. So that means that while everybody in the world wants the party to stop, so that they can get back to sort of pretending that they know what's going on, and controlling the world again, because the hedge funds and all the rest of it, they can't actually do TA in the first place. That's the reality of it. What they want to do is for that to happen. So yeah, we could still see some downside. It could happen. Now the thing about it is that we've come quite close here to filling in this area. I want to back test, to see how good this is at sort of catching the volatility highs and lows again. And I'm thinking that it's slightly offset. It's not so as algorithmic as we can see here. Yeah, it's slightly offset recently. Yeah, so is it enough? Have we come down enough? Well, possibly. It really depends, and it really depends on how we handle this liquidity area. Now, this is the weekend, right? So, what could happen is a couple of different things over the period of the weekend. We could see, are we getting aftermarket prices on here? No, I don't think we're getting aftermarket. Are we getting post-market? It says post-market there. Not 100% sure if GME's showing me the light. No, wait, post-market's actually closed. It's only just, the markets have only just closed. Wait a minute, the markets have just closed there now. My head, where am I at? Right, brilliant. So the markets have just closed 5 minutes ago. Fantastic. Let's just see. So we had this great end towards the day here. No, we didn't. We had a great end of the week, is what that is. 24-hour time frame. Yeah, great end to push up from that. That was nicely done, preventing this DMI cross in here. Woof, nice one. Well, we still have the positive. So yeah, things are still in place for us to move positively. Essentially, taking out the targets of $2.10 and $210 is absolutely wonderful for us. But and we could then see a subsequent 50% move easily after that, taking us towards 350. Then for us to see an additional 30% move up towards the $478 area is absolutely feasible thereafter. So yeah, so great, things are still looking like they could be positive for us, right? That's what's actually happening here with this one. However, nevertheless, taking out this previous low overall, we'll see a couple of things happening where we actually look like we could go in for consolidation and perhaps come in here and test in it around about somewhere in the bodies of the somewhere in between this red horizontal line at 92 down towards 58 again. That could happen, and then the prices go up the way. I really don't want to see that happen though. I mean, I know that it's here on the 4-hour time frame in terms of like this potential for us just here, but it's kind of like that actually stopped once we got up towards 95, and that would be the worst that I'd be happy to see happening overall. I'd rather just see this come in with a nice cross. This is crossed at the minute. We're above 25 in the ADX. Just pushing up here at the start of the week would be very nice. If we have a gap, and a gap happens to be right in here at this liquidity zone, well then yes, I absolutely expect to see this gap. If this happens to gap up the way, I would expect to see that gap getting filled before we go up towards the sort of $400 area. If not, well then that'll become a subsequent target perhaps towards the downside. This gap here, this liquidity zone zone was drawn in in a gap, by the way. Just, you know, you can see, you know, another one happened there, and another one happened just here at the cusp of it, as we've then gone in and filled them in thereafter. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking to. I'm feeling pretty positive on this one. If we can see this push towards the top side, we're in a world where there's where you're looking at crypto levels of volatility. It's crazy between the lows in January. Between the lows over here in January the 21st of the 13th of January 21 up to the highs here was 2,400%. That's like just not happening in the stocks, and that's why the whole world went crazy. And this is still the all these people, you know, all the suits out there trying to sort of you know, control. Like, you can just imagine the mental breakdowns and the nervous breakdowns that are happening in the world for people that are in offices and everything else, trying to talk about this with their bosses when they know fine right that they don't know what they're talking about, that their subordinates don't know what they're talking about, and that their bosses that are listening to them don't know what they're talking about either, and they're just trying to struggle to put something together. That's it. So in terms of that frame, you know, just in terms of what they're looking at, then well, let's just bring on the sheer fact is that so long as we stay above the 200 simple period moving average, then, you know, it's people are just going to have to get on board with the reality that we're facing here, and that is of course a bullish upward trend on the 4-hour time frame. The 24-hour time frame, bullish upward trend, has been for a very, very, very long time, since it's over 6 months ago, you know, easily, and everything looks good. Like I say though, you could see the prices coming down towards $40 and still actually coping with it. But I really don't want to see that happening. If that does happen, by the way, what you'd be looking at then is the potential for a huge sort of descending triangle, and that could be where we actually see the markets resolve to go towards the downside if we just extend this out the way and feel that pain. So I'm not blind to it. I will talk about it if that happens. I'm also not blind to anything else that's going on in here, really, in general. To be honest, to be big-headed, I suppose, about it. We're aware of the different patterns that we've got on the go overall, and I've just not really gone ahead and drawn any extra stuff in here in terms of trying to describe this area, which in and of itself is describing the overall lack of commitment in the markets towards really either thing happening at the minute. If this chunk here, which looks far more like a distribution type area, eventually does break down past those zones, then I do become very worried, and I naturally would be, because you're looking at huge percentage movements all the way down here. This is a logarithmic chart, so don't be fooled. You're looking at huge potential moves down the way, you know, if that were to happen inside that overall zone. So I'm not blind to it, but I'm not writing this off. And if we get above $220, then is it reasonable for us to get another 50% movement up the way? Yeah, it actually is. And if we get above that, if we get that 50% movement up the way, is it reasonable to continue on the way? Yeah, it actually is. And what we're seeing, well, all of this is happening in at the golden pocket zone anyway. So this is the golden pocket zone. So really, who am I to say which directions it's going to go? I can't tell you what direction it's going to go. All I can tell you is that we've been in an upward trend on this thing for over 6 months, and that any sort of dispute of that fact is going to actually see us all suffer 50% movements on this one. So I'd rather just not it happen. Is that fair enough? I think that's fair enough. Let's catch up with chat. Yo, I've only got top chat open. How annoying. Well, I wonder if I've missed any messages that I wouldn't have otherwise. I would have liked to have seen. Sorry folks if I have. Andrew Gibson, Ruffle. Yay! Hope that was me that made you laugh. Craig, keep on. Sweet, nice one, Craig. Google user says, Rocky, what the hell is that thumbnail? Did you like that thumbnail, by the way? Come on. Oh, damn it. Go back to normal screen size. Oh, I've zoomed on my whole screen in. Oh my god, how do I get back to normal? Oh, there it is. Is Streamlabs still working? Yeah, I've got this open, so wrong button. Ugh. Why does it not work for me? Oh, it's working. I'm not very good. I went on unsplash.com where you can get copyright-free images, and decided I'd choose something decent. So these are all sort. No, that's not so intriguing. That's not so intriguing. That's a good thumbnail, but it's not St. Patrick's Day. Nice one. Shout out to Deep Fucking Value. Good guy over there. Love his stuff. Roaring Kitty, if you don't know who he is, by the way, on the old YouTubes. Not that I need to give a guy that gets that many views a shout out, but there you go. Shout out to him. Oh, these guys, the Dusty Wheel. Everyone likes the rumors that appeal. The Dusty Wheel. Yeah, I like those guys. They do stuff about Wheel of Time. I'm a Wheel of Time fan. And then you've got this, and I just thought, well, hey, why not? Why not do that? Why not? Wee bit of that. Why not? What's the problem? It's a good thumbnail. Yeah. If anybody, I don't know what the problem is with that. I actually was going to talk about it as if to say that's what Bitcoin's been doing, for the last wee while, and I was going to incorporate it into the show, but I couldn't be bothered. In the end, I just went with good quality technical analysis. Oh, this is all laid out wrong. Oh, what have I done? Oh, I've messed it all up, haven't I? There we have it. That's better. That's better. That's better. Good thumbnail. Anyway, gets a vote from me. Did we get any more viewers as a result of it? Probably not. Drop a like, everybody. Drop a like. Be sure to hit like 3 times if you I don't know. That's maybe bad advice to give people that. We have a meeting on the 30th with a chat from Parity. After we will follow for sure. Yes, stuff happening all the time behind the scenes here, folk. With regards to Picnic Network, we're always open for communication with people. If you're actually considering being a significant investor, by which I mean closer to the $1 million area than the $10,000 area. Okay, if you're talking about having a significant investment in it, we're absolutely happy to talk to you with a live video call, etc. I don't want to put people under pressure to have $1 million to invest in something. That's not what I was meaning, but if you scale it all out, then obviously we've only got much time to talk to so many people, etc. So yes, and yeah, if you want to do that, absolutely can do that with you. And we're also working on other things in terms of just getting the ball kind of starting to roll a little bit in terms of well, our development as the team, as the co-founders, etc. of that, and forming relationships. Hopefully I'll get into the technicals of it all with you all very, very soon. Oh, look at that, we're at 54,500, and tell you all about what we've been getting up to and everything else. But we're going to be working on this all the time, and we're busy all the time on it, and stuff's always happening. So hate to keep everybody in the dark. I know that people feel like they're being kept in the dark at times, or maybe that they've missed a boat because stuff must have moved on. Everybody will be informed all the time along the way as we get to certain milestones. Okay, if you're looking to get in there sort of on that angel, if you like, depends on where you are in the world in terms of what level you talk about with them, but the sort of overall sort of seed funding area, if you're looking to get in terms of things of the seed funding part of things, then we're looking then of course then we'll keep you informed as to how things are going before any of that sort of cuts off the way. And then there will also then be opportunities then for everybody as well, which will all be made, everybody will be aware of them in terms of when things like IDOs happen, etc. But seed funding is kind of pre all of that. Whether we actually even end up taking any or just bootstrap the thing is also entirely up to us. We obviously have to give up huge amounts of value, so we're looking for it. So then obviously we want any sort of investment that comes in to also be value anyway, and not just, by the way, not just in terms of numbers, but in terms of the people and the dynamics and everything else. Anyway, that's all good, and TradeSpotting's in there handling all the chat about all that sort of stuff, so that's good to have there. That's cool. Scott, right, big ones, small ones, ones as big as your head. Age of Empires was some game though. Yeah, it was. I can tell you the donating thing doesn't work as well as you would think. Crazy, you can make people thousands, and a tip of $5 isn't a tip. Might as well keep it. They need it more than we do. I'm not sure. I don't get. I can't see the context in this because it's not letting me scroll up any higher. But that's totally, it's true. It's crazy what happens out there in the world in terms of the reticence, for instance, that some people have to like, I get messages from people and I always help them, and I've still not quite stopped. But I keep telling people, stop messaging me directly. If you want to have access to me for one-on-one chat at any given time, then join one of the Patreon levels, because that's like, I'll help, and we can do it in a public way and educate people, or if there's some private thing I can talk privately, whatever. But I keep getting these messages all the time from people, and I help them, and it's just, they're just taking, by and large, they're just taking advantage of me, because it's a service that obviously I put effort into. They're like, oh yeah, thanks, and that, and I'm doing it with loads of people, and nobody, and and they're obviously going out there and risking far more than $50 or whatever. Yeah, it's a laugh, all right, what people get up to. But anyway, I'm here because I love y'all. Hey Randy, hi all, lovely bunch of coconuts. There's a lovely bunch of coconuts there. Good to see you, Randy. Please do keep me in the loop, ready to go when it's available to send. Nice, excellent. If my B&B steak doesn't work out, I may have to borrow that phone cord. Right, so great, excellent. I think we're pretty much done here. I'm going to give it like 1-2 more minutes so that anybody can get any chat in that they want to get in. Make sure that I've not missed anything. If somebody wants me to take a look at this a coin at this stage, then I'm afraid it's going to have to be a donation, isn't it? I mean, realistically, I've got this bun in my hand. I'm very much aware of how I want to actually put the into my, so I'm going to have to end the thing, right? Okay, so what you're doing here is you're competing versus a bun, at the very least, right? Otherwise, it's going to be smashed to black. Do 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 do. Right, just then, last thing. Sorry guys, I forgot about cake. There's a song in that somewhere, isn't there? Van Dabby Dozy, setting us up nicely for a nice golden cross there on the 4-hour time frame, breaking past that structure there, moving on up, decent volume to go with it, so it's not all just been a lack of sellers, it's people actually pushing the prices up. You can see ADX here just tentatively forming a nice upward trend. Be a bit prudent on it, could come back down for a retest of course, but it's just there. Excellent news, nice to see, that's good. And now why would this be happening? Of course, like looking at the lower term time frames, if you're actually into sort of fundamentals or anything like that, there was a period here just a wee while ago when PancakeSwap, and this is to do with PancakeSwap, I'm pretty sure, got hacked or something like that, a DNS hack, and then we had this period of poopiness that brought the prices down to just sub $10, and then in and around about this area. Now they've moved towards the top side. Fan Dabby Dozy, benefiting off the back of that sort of kind of hack thing. Let's just see then where our targets could be for higher up. Rough targets, just real quick, $18, $16 to $18 is your next upside target. That would be very, very nice to see happening for us. Have we got divergences or anything? Not on the 1 hour time frame in terms of the MACD. What about the RSI? Yeah, it's on the RSI. Wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback down here towards the 1290 area, but then of course I would want to see continuation then thereafter. If we break 1290, then I'm actually looking down as low as 1120, but overall looking pretty good here on this one. I'd say it's looking pretty tasty for, you know, some nice cake. Yeah, exactly. If we do go down there, they'd be looking down towards that 11, that mid 11 zone, if we needed to come in here for that, but I'm feeling like that's pretty decent overall. Instead I'd probably look towards 1290 for a pullback at this stage, unless we actually crack on up the way, in which case I'm looking towards 16 to $18. Now 16 to $18 comes in at right here, that zone in fact here is the $16 to $18 zone, bringing us in for our previous two highs. Yeah, so the sort of the movements here in the market are lining up perfectly with the previous support and resistance zones all the way back over to, you know, over to here. So that's fantastic to see. Great stuff. Let me just draw this in again so you can see. So you can see here, cake. Wow. Alright, cool. So you can see that's between these two zones, right? That's what I was getting at. So let me just do this real quick and we can make it into an episode, and then I'll clip it out from the show and all that. That way at least if Kevin has tuned out. It does look like Kevin tuned out actually. Sorry. Oh, you're still there. Nice one. Great. Good one. I was going to say I was going to make this into a clip just in case you did actually tune out. You might get a notification later on saying that cake was done, and then you'd be like, oh, thankfully that did happen. Right. Fantastic. Okay, let's do it kind of episode style-y, right? I'll make myself big for this one, and I'll do it. I'll do it in a sec. I'll make it. Yeah. I'm doing a live stream, by the way, at the minute. As you can see, as the live chat, join me for one of them one day. Drop a like and a subscribe and all that good stuff. Yeah, we found that support in around about the $10 in that time when it got hacked, you know, a week or two ago, and that's great to have seen the prices push up the way ever since. In fact, you know, if we draw in a Fibonacci retracement, we can see that when the prices push past the $10 something zone and really took out the 11s, that we really got that positivity back in spades. And since then we've done 100% retrace. That puts us in place to actually have a couple of targets even higher up. We're looking up at the minute between $16 and $18. Couple of reasons for that, couple of key ones. We'll come in and take a look at them in just a second or two, but let's sanitize our thoughts first off. If we did actually drop down the way, the area that I could be looking down to in terms of saying, look, cut it, I'll reconsider this once conditions have really changed, would be in at that sort of $11, $11.50 area, right, if you like. Now there's a couple of reasons for that one as well. In the 4 hour time frame we're seeing this is where we would maybe have a cross of this 50 period simple moving average. That's the red dotted line, and the white dotted line here, which is the 200, and that would be a death cross. Now, if we did have that, I would expect to see a tracement down and a touch of it. Over here on the 24-hour time frame, we don't have the luxury of looking at those moving averages on this particular chart anyway, because it's not existed for long enough. But over here on the 1 hour time frame, we can see a couple of different nuances, and really taking out the 50 simple period moving average would be taking out the 618 Fibonacci golden retracement pocket as well, and then that's why I would anticipate that move down towards the 11. So you can see that was the thinking behind that. So if we do have a pullback, I'm happy enough to see back your horses, Rocky. $12.90 I'm happy enough to see as a pullback area for us. Now we've come up towards the top side here with decent volume on the go as well, resulting in actually overall in terms of the movements and being decent in terms of the MACD, that we've actually pushed up the way in terms of the moving averages, etc. And as you can see, they're all splayed out nicely towards the top side, and that's jolly good. But what we're seeing here is the lack of divergence there, very good. But there is a bit of the old divergence here on the RSI with this little sort of inverted or this regular head and shoulders type feature at the end here, and us having got a little bit of twisting around at the edge of the bullish control zone and the RSI moving average here. Now, by the way, this is my customized RSI. The bullish control zone starts on this chart in here at 65. I uploaded it for cryptocurrency. So anyway, here you have it. We've just crossed towards the top side though, so I'm going to say I'm actually anticipating this not turn into a shoulder and just continue towards the top side overall. But if we do see a pullback, then overall then this would look like a shoulder on the RSI, and I'd be hoping to not see us break down past our previous lows here on this one overall, because then of course there you've got your sort of early doors swing failure. In fact, the swing failure really comes in at 36, and that would be the changing conditions in the market, and then things start to look bad, and that would be the whole story kind of playing out towards the downside. But towards the top side, right, what were the things that we're talking about there which are important for us? And it's this zone between $16 and $18, where you have the 1272 coming up towards the 1618. And the reason for that is because we've actually got these two key zones here between 16 and $18, where we have our previous highs really. And market structure wise, we can see that in terms of the 4 hour time frame, these are the two key areas beyond any zone that we're at currently for a pushback. Now where we've broken is this previous high over here. Now we're looking to hopefully see this act as support, having once been resistance. If we did drop down to 12k, what am I like today? $2, 12k, 1290. Then maybe this could act as a sort of double top zone, because it would be giving us that extra resistance, and we could kind of see how the patterns play out at that time, etc. If we just push on up the way, $18 that profit taking target, that'd be nice to see. Lovely jubbly. So glad it came here, and we're looking to see how things evolve overall on this one. We do have a sort of snaky, a movement here on the stochastics, which is slightly different from what you want to see. By the way, I actually use, as it happens, exponential moving average on my stochastics as opposed to the simple. If I swip this back over to simple, you can see that they've just crossed. The reason I've got this on an exponential one here is because actually, when they are moving big time, then you see that they have it's a bit quicker to move, in which case you see them cross quicker. And right now, actually, as a result of this little inflection here, they haven't actually crossed. A little bit revealing for you. That's my stochastics for you. If you want to get access to those indicators, you can get them free. Look in the description down below. Hit like, hit subscribe, come back, join me for a live video sometime, and that'll be great. Okay, there's your cake TA at the minute. There's plenty of things we could have talked about, but we didn't talk about. I do this often on the channel. For instance, the Bollinger Bands, tracing them towards the top side very nicely. 24-hour time frame. Yes, we've pushed outside of it. Lower end of the Bollinger Band. Where's that coming in at? $14. That's where we want to see that obviously operate as support for us. If we need to drop down the way, then where's the median line of the Bollinger Band, the baseline, in there at that mid 11 zone. I always deliver the quality content for you. Okay, so there's another 1,000 things like that I could do just now. Just take it from me, those are the zones that you're looking to. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode, right? Bow, 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 bow. How y'all doing? Right, great, fantastic, job done, looking good. I'm going to say cheerio now for reals. Thanks for the reminder, Kevin. And Hey. No! 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 Babe, no! Babe! Babe, no! That's frustrating. Thanks for letting me know, though.
Grab a vitamin water. Should I make that dose?
No thanks.
Coolio. Maybe I'll get a box of dong bags so we can knock boots later. What do you think?
He's so cool. I think he's so cool, that guy. Just kidding. By the way, for all the people out there who don't understand irony.
Just forgot my wallet.
Like those nerds, see if you can. Goodbye.
Babe, wait. Babe, wait. Babe, wait. Babe. Babe, wait. Babe. Babe. Babe.
I got it wrong. It's Babe Wait, not Babe No. Anyway, yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen's wife. She's funny. She was very, very, very funny. Right, great. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame. I'll just have to edit the bits around that do have audio, I suppose. For that, thanks for letting me know, TradeSpotting. There's not much I can do about that now, but at least I was yeah, at least that's it done. Right, sweet. Okay, good night, everybody. I guess there was no sound on the final screen as well, so you didn't know I was coming back, etc., etc. So thanks for that. I'll have it all sound working next time, hopefully. Smash to black.